Okay, and we will pull this out, shut this off. Now, I don't even know if this car is gonna make into a video. Well, there is 2 videos for this car, and I don't know if I'm gonna publish at least one of them, but that doesn't really matter for what we're doing here today. It's nothing to do with the Golf. It's to do with this. Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this 2015 Nissan Pulsar. I'm not sure what the engine is on this, but I think we can quickly have a look. And here you have it. Is 1.2 petrol with the 113 brake horsepower engine. Now, the issue with this is, and let me actually start this. So this is the keyless one. So we can just so like that. I think we need to press the clutch. Okay, so the problem is, one is, as you're gonna see there, engine light is on. Okay, but this car has been already at the parts scanning. He had already a few parts, but I think I'll take you through what he had once we give you a quick scan. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to do a quick scan and see what we have stored on the ECU. But my word to say that the car apparently drives absolutely fine. I haven't drove the car, but I was told the car drives fine, starts fine, apparently runs okay, apart from that engine light on. Okay, and we're going to go quickly to the engine ECU. And the codes are, I already know roughly because I was told what they are related to. There we go. So O2 sensor 1B1 and fuel pressure regulator passed. Apparently the car had a fuel pressure regulator installed. I was not told about the O2 sensor. I was only told about the pressure regulator. But the pressure regulator is a passed code. So it looks to me like it might be the O2 sensor now that is causing this issue. Now that we have the codes, they are here on the phone, on the video. We're going to go back. I'm going to erase these codes. Let's turn the engine off. Key on. Key off again. Let's kind of start it. Okay, and the engine light went off. It can't be this simple for sure. Okay, it's going to look at live data. Let's going to see if there's any live data here. Hopefully there is, that is relevant what we try to look for, and then I'll take you through that. Okay, and after going through live data, these is the values I thought they would be probably interesting to look at. Apart from that, I just loaded that. I think that's interesting. Is that the revolutions of the engine since the engine was started for the first time? Because I think TRS, will that be for trillions? That's an interesting thing to put on live data. I just thought it was interesting to show you. I think it's the first time I've seen these, maybe. Or maybe I've seen it and didn't really. Anyway. So the car is in a closed loop, which is good. I'm not sure what I should see here. Initial value, I'm not really sure. Fuel rail pressure 47, close to 50 bars idling. I'm gonna guess this is a direct injection engine, so 50 bars idling, it should be about right. Oxygen sensor, we're gonna put this in a minute on a graphic to see what he's doing. Then we have the idle speed, requested idle speed 1000 RPMs, and then we have the actual speed is at about 900, a little bit lower than what is requested. Not really sure why he's so far out, but then I thought this is an interesting one. Fuel temperature sensor -40, because these will affect quite a lot of things if the engine is adjusting things for this fuel temperature. I don't know if there is a fuel temperature sensor installed or if this is just a default value if the car doesn't have one, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of investigation. And that's about it. That was the only live data I seen that might be interesting to look at. And now we are going to do what I've just said, which is that, put it on the graph. I need another thingy to look at the graphic at the same time, so I'm just going to put that one in there. Okay, so let's put this a little bit slower, or a little bit faster actually. No, did this wrong. So it is definitely doing what's supposed to be doing, which is going from about 100 millivolts to about, what's down there, to about 700 millivolts, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit more, maybe around, yeah, 670 on the blue line, as you can see there. I don't know if you can see there. So that top line there, 670 millivolts. So it goes a little bit above sometimes, but it goes down to about 100 or so. So the O2 seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing, although it's a little bit doing it too fast. I thought this should be a more slowly. Oh, so this is the after. Yeah, that's correct, after the catalytic converter. Do we have one before? I haven't seen the one for the one before, actually. Is that one for the O2 before? I haven't seen the one for the before. Right, so I think the first thing I really want to look at, to be honest with you, O2, okay. Well, it looks like this is the only one. So, okay, so something interesting just happened. The RPMs of the car have changed. So this could be something to do with some sort of cold start. Requested 1,000. I just don't know why he's still asking for 1,000. Engine speed. Yeah, it reduced. It's about 750 now. It was about 900. It definitely went down. I could feel the engine speed changing. Right, look, I'm not going to be here showing you live data or anything like that. Let's going to do a little bit of a visual inspection, etc. I'm really focused a little bit. I'm really keen, I would say, not focused. I'm really keen to go and look at that in there, because I think it's definitely one of the things that it will, which is dying there, 40 minus 40. That's definitely it will make something. It will make the car to do adjustments based on that temperature. Let me just see if any codes came back. Nope, no codes yet. Just remember, the car's been only here idling. I haven't drove the car, but let's gonna do a little bit of some inspection and go from there. Okay, and nothing to do with the car, but look at this sky. Probably the camera is not gonna show you. Literally is this orange sort of overlay on the sky. Is beautiful. Wow. Right, anyway, let's gonna move into this and right. What am I looking at? What am I looking at? Not really sure what I'm looking at. So it said to me fuel pressure. That's not the fuel pressure, so that's been definitely changed by the looks of it. This looks like a brand new pump to me, to be honest. It looks like the pump. Maybe yes, with the regulator at the back probably has been changed. That's fine. Now, where is the fuel temperature sensor? Is this gonna have a fuel temperature sensor somewhere? I'm not sure. Not sure. Right, let me check. Okay, a quick inspection around the engine. I can't really see any temperature sensor there. Not really sure where it's going to be fitted, but I was just thinking as well, if that temperature was supposed to show something, why is the car not throwing a fault for it? Is that really what's causing my problem? Now, I left the car here idling. The car is now idling for about 15 minutes maybe, I'm not sure. The engine light came back on. I gave it a scan. And look at that. Fuel pressure regulator one. So my fuel pressure regulator came back on. And I'm not really sure because the car is running fine. Now the only thing I need to know now, guys, is that is the 50 bars is actually what this car is looking for. Is it that pressure regulator? Is that original pressure regulator? Is that the car is seeing something on that pressure regulator that is not right? If it's an aftermarket, guys, I don't know. We're gonna have to dig into this a little bit more until we're 100% sure of what we are looking for. Okay, so as I was looking better to this pump, so the pressure regulator is going to be this one at the back, and then it's going to have a pressure sensor somewhere in the rail, I think. But this pressure regulator is part of the pump, is welded in there. I don't think this is replaceable, which means, and to be honest, this looks brand new to me. It looks, well, it looks new. So I think this is part of this. You can't just replace one without the other. So I think this is what's been replaced. And the reason why I went to check that is because there is, under special functions, a few things you can do when you replace some of this stuff. So there is one for after replacing the fuel pressure sensor. I don't think that's been replaced, so we're not going to touch that just yet. But we have one here for after the high fuel after high pressure fuel pump replacement. There is something here to reset the starts counts, the counts clear, and then we have here for high pressure fuel circuit fault finding and the special function. So we're going to do this because they told me that's been replaced. So we're going to run these tests or these special functions and see if this delivers any results. I've done 3 procedures. These 2 procedures here, they do not apply to this car, but I've done that one and I've done that one, and no, not 3, 2, yeah, that one and that one. That's all I've done. I haven't done nothing on this side yet, so I'm gonna leave that for now. But yeah, so the only one would be that one. We could do this, but it hasn't been replaced, so I don't want to mess things up. So yeah, so I've done that one and I've done injection pump adaptives. Okay, and now no, go back in there. I'm gonna go here, clear the codes, just make sure there's only one code still in there, which it is, same code. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna erase the codes. Okay, so now we're gonna turn the ignition off, and now we're gonna restart this. And I'm gonna leave it here idling again, see if that light comes back on. But it will be interesting also to know what pump is that. Is that new? Is that used? I don't know. We might have to check that. Okay, and just to let you know, I took 2 minutes for the same code to come back in. Now it's really strange how it comes that the actually light the light that actually fuel pressure is okay, but is not, and the code goes past straight away. So it's like a fluke. What the heck's going on with this? Okay, let me think. Okay, so it doesn't really matter for the video, but the last time I worked on this car was about a week and a half ago. It was actually last year, 2023. We are now in 2024. Today I think is the 3rd of January. So happy New Year, guys. Basically, after the last clip you've just seen, as I said last year, I didn't actually be off work to establish a couple of things. One is because, as I think I mentioned back in the video, the pump on this car looked very clean, and it looked to me like it was replaced. Well, I was told the fuel regulator was replaced. The fuel regulator is part of the pump. It's all one block. You can't really replace one thing without replacing the other. It's only one unit. So to me it looked like that was a brand new pump. So because of that, and because I know for a fact that these cars, these particular engines, this is like the same engines on the Renaults, same stuff, and I know for a fact that they can be fitted with two different pumps. They look the same, but internal they are slightly different. And why is this important? Because I wanted to know if they installed the correct pump. So the first thing I've done was ring the owner and just confirm that the pump was new. Indeed, the pump was replaced, and I've asked for the old pump, which they brought me the old pump, and that's what I want to show you now. Just quickly to inform you guys that you need to be careful with this. But basically, guys, what happens with these pumps is the following. So I remove the pump, as you can see, and I remove this part as well. So this part is what actually drives the pump. So the pump is driven by the camshaft, by the centric camshaft, and there is a lobe, obviously, where this runs. So this runs on top of a lobe, and as the camshaft rotates, this is forced up and down. This goes right there on the pump. Obviously this is the opposite way, but this obviously, as it goes up and down, forces the pump to go up and down, and that pumps the fuel. The ECU then controls the regulator by closing the regulator when the pump, when the stroke happens. The regulator closes and the fuel is forced into the rail. When this opens, obviously the fuel is not forced into the rail, and the ECU controls the pressure by regulating how long this valve is closed for, or how long this valve is actuated. So this plunger is actually quite good, not a problem. And the reason why there is two pumps is because the pumps, depending on the pump you have, the plunger is going to be slightly different. So I can tell you that this plunger is the correct plunger for this pump. And the way I know is because I have the old pump to compare the pumps itself. But the main difference between the plungers, guys, just curiosity, as I said, is so when you look at this plunger, you can see that this is the top of the plunger right here. And then you have this sort of heel here to allow to accommodate the pin that holds the roller. Okay? And now I'm going to put here on the side a picture of a different plunger which goes into the exact same car, but as you can see, the roller is a little bit further sunk into the plunger, and you don't have this heel here on the side, on the side for the pin. So the top of the plunger is pretty much flat, and this obviously affects the stroke of the pump. So if you put the wrong pump into the wrong plunger, or vice versa, the pump is not going to perform the way it should. Now, how do I know this is all correct here? Is because I asked for the old pump. The first thing that kind of rang some bells is the fact that this is one of those cheap, I don't want to say China pumps, okay? It's one of those cheap pumps which probably just for this old job purpose are probably going to fit the old pump back in, because I'm going to guess the old pump is actually good. And then if the owner wants to, when we get everything fixed, hopefully we'll get everything fixed, if he wants to put the new pump back in, we'll put the new pump back in. It's completely up to him. But as you can see, the pumps are here, both of them, and if I put them in this sort of position, as you can see, they are exactly the same. There's no difference at all on the pumps. I already measured like from here to the base where the pump goes in, etc. All these measurements are all the same, so the pumps are pretty much identical. So I believe that the pump they bought was the pump correct for the car, and that this plunger is the correct plunger for the car. I don't think this has been changed. You can see by the sort of brownish inside that is still, it looks like it's the original, I'm guessing. And yeah, so just a little bit of information here to inform you basically. So what we're going to do now is the following. There's a few checks now I want to do. So these cars, guys, they are known for stretched chains. Now, when the chains stretch, usually you start to get timing codes, which you don't have yet. Now, I have a theory. If I have a theory that I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I have a theory as how the timing could be causing this problem without setting any codes for timing. I know, a little bit tricky, but let me get to it. So we're going to do a few checks, and it's better for me to explain you my line of thinking and the theory as I do these checks, rather than just be here explaining you. So we're going to do some checks. It's going to take me a little bit to set up everything, but we're going to do a few checks, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so no, we are not going to scope the timing just yet. The first thing we're going to do is something else, but I'll take you through in a second. So to start with, obviously this is all back on. This is still disconnected, but doesn't really matter. The pump is back in place now. As you can see, I put the old pump back in. The car has been already running. I already started it because the car was actually parked all the way back because I had to do a timing belt in between Christmas and New Year on a Skoda. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Timing belt and water pump. Doesn't really matter for this video. So, but I had the car running, so which means it should start as soon as I press the start button. Now, before we do what I want to show you, there is a couple things, or there is one thing. There is a TSP and a software update for this particular engine / car to actually resolve the issue with P0090. The issue we are having on this car. Now, what that software update does, from my understanding, is that it's going to increase the parameters or the deviation from the nominal parameters the ECU is going to be looking for. So as the car gets wear and tear, obviously, and as the system fails to perform as when it's brand new, those values are going to start to deviate. The ECU will have to control the fuel pressure regulator for a different time, for a different length of time. For example, the pressure might start to decrease a little bit. The car might be looking for, I don't know, for 50 bars, and as you've seen, it's showing 48. And if the car sees less than 49, it throws a fault, even though it runs okay at 48. So when you do the software update, the ECU will allow the car to go down to, for example, 47 bars, and still happy with it, and will allow the solenoid to be controlled for longer, and is still happy with that without throwing any faults. So that's usually what a software update does. In this instance, it's going to be something along those lines, if that makes sense. However, you can go through the software update and be left with the same problem. Now, yes, ideally my next step would be software update before I do anything of this. But in case if we have actually a mechanical problem, I want to tackle that before I do the software update, because again, I could do the software update and be left with the same problem. And if we do really have a mechanical fault, a mechanical problem that is causing this fault, then I'm just going to be wasting my time on the software update. Yes, I know what you guys are thinking. I'm jumping ahead one step, which probably I shouldn't. Now, the main reason why I'm doing this is, one, I don't have the tools to do the software update on Nissans. I don't have the interface for Nissan. So I would have to find another way of doing this. Either I would have to invest on the tool, or find someone to do this for me, or go to the dealer. So to do the software update. And again, as I said, we could do all of that and be left with a problem. So what I want to establish here, guys, is that I have no other mechanical problems on the car. Because if the tests I'm going to do now reveals that everything is okay, then yes, the software update most likely will fix this problem. So the first thing I want to check is the following. So I want to check for how long the ECU is activating that fuel pressure regulator in order to keep the fuel pressure stable. As we've seen on live data, the fuel pressure is about 48 bars, if I recall correctly. And I do know, so a little bit of information here, I know that on a good working engine, the engine ECU should control or should activate that valve for about 4 milliseconds or just above 4 milliseconds. That's for how long the ECU will control that valve to keep the pressure at 48 or 49 bars, whatever that was. These on a good working engine. So if we're going to scope that, if we're going to see on the scope that the engine is having to close that valve for longer in order to keep the pressure, that means something is not right. And then yes, we're going to do the next check. But for now, let's going to put the scope all correctly and let's going to do some measurements and establish if we do have an issue there or if we don't. Okay, it's going to be a little bit noisier now, but I'll try to make sure you guys can hear me. So here we have the pulse to the fuel pressure regulator. The car might still cold, so I'm going to allow the car to actually warm up and slow down the revs. If not yet, no, it's still a little bit too high, so it's still close to 1,000. So we're going to have to allow it to warm up and go a little bit more up to temperature, so we can then take a good measurement of the length of that pulse to the fuel regulator. But this is, guys, just curiosity, is how the signal should look, so I can go a little bit faster and you can see right there what happens. There we go. So that's my pulse. Okay, we're gonna go back. There we go. So let's the engine to warm up a little bit and then we'll do some measurements in there. Okay, and the engine is pretty much warmed up. I don't know if you can hear that the idling is now settled a little bit. So what we're going to do now, guys, is I'm going to pause this. Okay, and now, so we don't need to be here with the engine running. I'm just going to show you the revs are slightly lower now, as you can see. Okay, and that the engine is not fully warmed up, but the revs are now where they should be when idling and warmed. So now we're going to measure this pulse. So the way we're going to do it, guys, is I'm going to zoom this a little bit so we can place the cursors in the exact positions. So we're going to zoom this in a little bit. I do it again. Oh, that's probably too much. Or not. Hey, it's too much, doesn't fit the screen. Okay, so that will do, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure from this dip up to this raise. And that's going to be for how long this ECU is pulsing that valve. So we're going to come, in this particular case, if you have a different scope, obviously you'll have to do something different. I'm going to go to cursor, time, that's correct. And now, I'm going to place, so we have two cursors, you have this one, and you have this one that is kind of a dotted line. I'm just going to select the dotted line, in this case is by pushing the middle button, and we're going to place this cursor right there. No, one more. Right there. Spot on. Now we press the cursor. Just to make sure we are doing this correctly, we're going to put both cursors in the same place. And my time in the top left hand side corner should go to 0. There we go. 0 microseconds. Now as I move the cursor forward, that will start to take my measurement. And when I go all the way where it goes up, whoops, too much. Boom. 11.84 milliseconds. 11.84. So the car is having to open that valve for nearly 12 milliseconds to actually keep the pressure. That's pretty much 3 times more than a good working car should be doing. And I might be a little bit far-fetched to say that I don't think a software update would fix this problem. So let's gonna move into the next step, which, as you can guess already, is going to be measure the timing. Okay, and here we have scoping the timing. I'm just going to pause this like so. That should do. And now we're going to do the same as last time. We're just going to turn the engine off. There's no point in having the engine running. Okay, so next we'll quick show you where the connections goes. Pause if you want. Okay, obviously my scope is only 2 channels. I can't scope the inlet and outlet at the same time and the crank, but we don't really need that, because all we need to check, in this case I'm going to check against the exhaust camshaft. Okay, and what we're going to see, we're going to zoom this in so it's easier to look at. Okay, so here, let me show you here. Right, so right here, so that's the green line is the crankshaft, the yellow line is the exhaust camshaft, and that's the gap or the missing tooth on the crankshaft. And from here to this raise on the camshaft, we should have 6 teeths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have 7. So let's do it again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We should have 6. So this engine is either out of timing, or most likely the timing chain is stretched. And this is exactly the reason why I decided to do this first. So with this information now, I can say with confidence that even if we would have done a software update on this car, the problem would not be fixed, because we have a timing issue and the software update would not fix the timing. So clearly we have a problem here, and this, guys, is just what is happening, because the car is out of timing. The lobe on the pump is not in the right place where it should be, and when the ECU tries to open that valve, the synchronization of the fuel pump is not synchronized with the lobe in the camshaft, and the ECU needs to open the fuel regulator for too long, or not open, close the fuel pressure regulator for too long in order to build the pressure. And that's what the ECU is saying wrong, is I'm having to open or to close this regulator for way too long than it should be, and that's why it's triggered the fault. So the car is out of timing 100%. It's just funny that it's not throwing codes for timing yet. And the one thing that we're going to do very quickly as well, maybe, is just curiosity, is start the engine and see what the degrees on the camshafts are on live data, and then we, if I remember, we can then compare that afterwards. Now, timing chains, I'm not very keen to do this, but guys, what's the point really now to just send the car away? I might attempt to do this. I'll speak with the owner, see what he wants to do. Obviously, first, if he doesn't want me to touch it, then I won't touch it. But guys, this is with 100% confidence that we have a timing issue. Okay, and we do have here some live data. I believe this is the grease. There's only live data for the intake. There's nothing for the exhaust. Sorry, there's only for the exhaust, nothing for the intake. But all the values here, they hovering about low 20s, as you can see. And it will be interesting to see what they go to if we do the job, what they go to, or what they should be. I'm under the impression this should be around 6, somewhere around there. But I might be wrong. But it will be interesting if we get to do the job and to see what's wrong with this, to see what this live data is at the end. At the moment, guys, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. Just going to ring the owner literally now. I'm going to tell him what I think is wrong and what needs to be done, and we'll go from there. Okay, and just before we go, obviously you might do not trust when I said the counting on the number of tooths after the gap on the crankshaft should be 6 and not 7, as we measured on the car itself. I have here a good known waveform, okay? And if I come here now, and so the area we're going to be looking for is this one here, okay? As you can see, the gap on the crank shaft, and then we have the number of tooths that's going to match with this drop, or with this raise here, I would say. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open these with paint because it's going to be easier. And now if I do zoom, just pull too much maybe. Oh no, I can still see these here. So it's going to be where it's going to be, so up, and then the small gap, so it's going to be right here. Okay, so that's the gap, and that's the raise we're looking for. Now I'll do a line from that, and we'll just do straight like so. And as you can see, he matched it right there at the top. And do it like so, and he matched it right here at the top with that one there. And now if you count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, and as we have seen, we need to have 6, as you can see here, and we had 7 when we did the measurement on the car. Okay guys, and we do have the go ahead to fix this, and the first thing I've done was removing the I think they are called is the camshaft shifting covers, I'm not sure, is what diverts the oil into the camshafts to adjust the timing into the VVT units. And these covers, they have these seals here. They are not rubber seals, they are like, they nearly look like compression rings, if you will. And this was one of the first things I want to check, is to make sure they are good. They are not cracked, they are not dented, they are good. I can't see any marks on them, so they look good to me. That was one of the first things, because obviously if this was passing oil somehow, the car wouldn't be able to adjust the timing correctly either. So that was one of the first things I decided to check. I'll show you exactly where they live. So that's exactly where they live, one on each, 3 bolts, and this comes off, and yeah, that's where they live. Okay guys, and the following day, engine cover is off. There's a lot of stuff to remove, there's a lot of work. I nearly start to regret I took this job, but as you know, I don't really like too much to do this kind of stuff. It's not that I don't like, but it's to do it here on the floor. Today, luckily guys, the weather is not too bad, because otherwise it can be a little bit tricky to do this kind of stuff on the floor. Can be a nightmare. But the reason why I wanted to do this in this particular case is because obviously guys, the car comes with a fault for the fuel pressure, and I'm now telling you that the problem is the timing chain, and you might going to think I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. And obviously if I just let the car go, if I'll just tell the owner, look, it's the timing chain, go and change the timing chain, blah 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 blah, the car probably will never come back, and I could never show you that that was actually the issue. So in order for me to be able to then show you that this is the issue with the car, the best way is to actually go and take the job and get it done, so I can show you then the end result. Unfortunately, I'm gonna stop for now. We're gonna work on this Jeep 2015 Jeep. Already been at the parts cannon, so we'll see how it goes. But at the moment I cannot carry on any longer because the guy doesn't know where the wheel locking key is, and I cannot take this wheel. Obviously I need to take this wheel to take the wheel arch trim in order to reach everything on this side. I already got a few bolts out, but that's as far as I can get for now. The guy is coming with someone, some guy that has tools or might has a kit to remove that, I don't know, not really bothered. By the time I was looking for the timing for the locking wheel, I was already here, so the guy said if he could take the car somewhere, but it's too late now. Anyway guys, that's not the point. The point is, obviously as you can see guys, I'm not taking you through the ABC on how to do this. surely there is plenty of information out there, and probably even videos I didn't look, but you guys can probably go and have a look. It's probably there is probably videos out there to show you how this is all done, so there's no point for me to just do another one. I'm not taking you through the ABC. I will definitely show you once we see the actual problem, but it's looking promising that I know what I'm talking about when you look at this. Let me see if I can show you. That doesn't look very good. So as we dig deeper and deeper, hopefully I can then show you the issue with the timing chain. But for now, guys, that's what it is. So now we need to take the cover on that side, and yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Okay, so the guy came with some mate and he smashed the bolt or the nut out, so that's sorted. I literally just finished from removing the cover, and if this was bad, now is 100% worse, because oh dear. So as I was trying to rotate the engine with that thingy, with this ratchet right there on the bolt, as I was trying to rotate this to try to put the car all on time again, to be able to show you that the car was out of timing. So this chain does have these red links, you can see there. So these links, there's 3 of them. There's one there, you can see. So they should all aligned with some marks here on the pulleys, on these VVTs, and then it should align on a little mark on the actually engine. Let me take, now it's not gonna come out. Damn it. Let me actually show you. I don't want to be here wasting too much time, so I will just show you where that's supposed to align. So it's supposed to align. One of the red links should align on that little arrow in there. Can you see in there? Right there, you see? Should align with that. And then the other 2, they should align here on that little dip. And there's another dip there that should align there. But as I was trying, because all of this is completely gone, as I was trying to rotate underneath, because I can't just keep rotating like the starter does. So every now and then, as the camshafts would try to pull, they would slack the tension, and they actually jumped even more teeth now. So it's completely out of timing now. I'm not going to rotate it anymore, so we'll just have to take the spark plug, get it on top dead center, and then I'll have to get the tools to lock this thing, I think. But just to show you obviously what's wrong right now, actually let me put the camera flashlight. So the tensioner down here, it has these little teeth at the top. These are supposed to hold the tensioner as the chain stretches and the tensioner starts to come out. It's supposed to hold the tensioner in place so it doesn't go back. But look at this. It's completely gone. And this tensioner is pretty much maxed out. So obviously he's not able to put any more tension on this. Also, this guide here, let me show you. So the chain has been actually running, part of the chain is actually running on this metal sort of, well, it's what holds the tensioner, isn't it? So it's actually running on a metal, I think it is. So there we go. This is broken. So yeah, quite a bit of a mess, this thing. So it was definitely gone. And guys, again, I'm not going to take you through the ABC on how this is done. I've actually checked just so I could just I could say this confidently. There's loads of videos out there showing you how to do this, but it's not rocket science. To get to this stage, it's just bolts and nuts, and surely you'll figure it out yourself. And then the most crucial part is obviously get the tool to lock the crank, and then lock the camshafts and make sure all the links align. But before I put this cover, when everything is done, I will show you how it should be. And that's it, guys. So that's where we are. And I guess I'm gonna get the parts tomorrow, see if I can get a locking kit from someone that can lend me one. Otherwise I might have to buy one. Don't know. It's my last day off, then I'm working Saturday and Sunday. day shifts, so I won't be doing nothing until Monday next week probably, but we'll see how it goes. But these guys is clearly a problem with this car. That's no questions asked at this point. It's 100% the timing that was out. Well, the scope didn't lie to start with, obviously, but clearly there is a problem with this. Okay, and as you can see, I'm going to take you very quickly through a few things here. Yesterday I actually managed to do a little bit more to the car after finishing the Jeep Grand Cherokee for the air suspension, as you might have seen. So I managed to do a little bit more, and the bit more I did was removing the oil sump. You need to do it if you want to change the oil pump chain. I don't know if there's any different pumps that will have maybe a nut at the end of the sprocket. This one is just sort of pushed in there, so the only way to remove the chain is by removing the sump and remove the pump, so you can tilt the pump and remove the chain. Took the opportunity obviously to do an inspection to the oil pump. Took the cover off. It looks okay. There is a little bit of wear on these blades, but nothing really crazy. So there is a bit of wear, but nothing out of the ordinary in my opinion. So it looks good to me. Obviously, did also an inspection here. So this is actually not too bad. You can see this flat area, this flat surface at the top of the teeth. That is an indication that is not too much wear on this. And I'll show you why I'm saying this. So this is the sprocket for the crankshaft, and you're gonna see here this row of teeth here at the back is for the oil pump. These ones are for the timing chain. And look at the difference on the top of the teeth. Look, this flat area, which is pretty much the same as that one in there. And look at the ones for the timing chain. They are pretty much rounded. See, there's pretty much nothing left. See the difference when I put it like that? See? So they should look like this. So this is the new sprocket that comes with the timing kit. As you can see, the ones for the timing chain here and for the oil pump, they are exactly the same. Okay, and that's how they should look like. See? So a little bit of wear on this one. What else? The timing chain guide that I showed you cracked. Obviously, as you can see, that was really bad. So the chain right here at the top was actually running on the metal. It was not on these anymore. It was actually running on the metal. And the tensioner, obviously, as you can see right there on that sort of link here right at the end, it's completely flattened, as you can see in there. That's why it doesn't hold the pin. When you try to push it back, it just slides along because there's nothing there to grab on here. Everything is worn out. If you look on the new one, I'm not going to pull the pin out, but you can see right there at the end, you can start to see the first tooth that's going to grab into the tensioner, and that's what allows the tensioner to come out and then doesn't go back in, and it keeps always tension on the chain. Obviously the kit also comes with the new bolts, etc. Comes with a sprocket that I think is for a different engine, not for this one. The new tensioners, etc. Guys, this is not genuine stuff. This is what the guy wanted, so that's what it is. What else I want to catch, obviously, or to cover, is that the car is going to have, obviously, a water pump. The guy wants to do water pump, idler, tensioner, auxiliary belt, and a oil filter. So we're going to do, obviously, a oil change. Up to now, the only little bit that I found a little bit concerning, if you will, is the oil pressure regulator, which goes right there on the pump on this side. Okay, on that hole in there. You can see the hole there on the side. So the oil pressure is built up to here, and obviously then up to the engine. And when the pressure is too high, or in order for the ECU to control the pressure, it opens this valve, which in turn will dump the oil from here back into the sump. And as you can see, I already gave it a little bit of a cleaning, but look at this valve. There's a lot of debris in there, so obviously I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning, but that was the really only thing concerning the pickup. I cleaned it already, but to be fair with you, it was pretty much clean. Was nothing here. That was good. And the chains, they're not actually too bad. So I have both chains here, as you can see, and the oil pump chain, as you're gonna see there, is just a tiny bit, what, a millimeter maybe, if that. And then the main timing chain is probably a couple millimeters. Maybe a couple millimeters. That's stretched, not too bad either. But obviously that in accumulation with the fact that this was not pushing the belt further anymore because it was broken, and that went back, added to the fact that the tensioner was not locking in place anymore, etc. The wear on these teeth here as well. So all added up caused what we have seen. So guys, I already told you this is not an ABC on how to do a timing chain on this car. So all I want to do now is just get the job done. So I think the next time I'm going to see you, it is probably when the car is all assembled and ready to be started. I don't have much time today left, but I still want to see if I can do the water pump at least, so I can start to get everything ready to put back on. I still need to clean the timing chain cover and all that good stuff. There is one part I don't have here because they didn't have in stock, which is the crankshaft seal that goes on the timing chain cover. They didn't have that seal. They will only have it for Monday, but I'm working a Saturday and Sunday anyway, day shifts, so I don't need it anyway, so I'll pick it up on Monday. That's the only thing they didn't have. Everything else we are replacing, so that's it, guys. So I think I'll see you next hopefully when we are ready to start the car, unless I see something that worth to be covered. Okay, and about 200 turns later, probably not 200, but not too far, the marks have finally aligned again. So I'm just going to show you. So there we go, top dead center. Engine is top dead center, as you can see there. Screwdriver all the way to the top, you can't see it, but dark link in there. So dark link in there, dark link in there, and hopefully dark link on here as well. There we go, dark link in there. And that's it. So everything looks good. Next step is start to put everything back on. So clean the cover and etc. But as I said, I need to get the seal. I didn't buy one, or they didn't have one in stock, so I need this seal first. And I also forgot to bring this one. Oh, it's all done for the cover. Need that one as well. But yeah, we're gonna clean all of this and start to put everything back on. That's what we're gonna do next. Okay, and a few days later we are back onto the Nissan, and yeah, yesterday I've been cleaning this, as you can see, including the rocket cage cover, and I do have now the seal. So I do have a new seal for the crankshaft to go there. The old one is here. I do have a new rocket cage cover gasket to go there, and I do have one that only crossed my mind yesterday when I was actually cleaning the cover, which is this seal here. I got it from Renault, as you can see there. That's the part number. The part number from Nissan for this gasket is slightly different, but you can easily find all these online anyway if you want, or just ring Nissan if you don't want to get it from Renault. The part number, the part will be the same with a different part number. Anyway, I've cleaned everything. I've cleaned these as well, as you can see, all cleaned. Now everything's clean. I'm gonna give one last swipe to the contact areas I'm gonna use diluent. You can use any other sort of grease or degreaser cleaner, whatever you want, brake cleaner if you want. I'm gonna give a last clean just around here to take any grease, any sort of impurities, if you will. Do the same on the engine. Put these back in, put this one there, and just put the cover back in, and then we'll carry on. There's a little bit of talking I want to do before I put to the rocket cage cover, but we'll get to that in a minute. For now, I just want to put this in because I don't want to put the oil today, purely because it's really cold. It's about 4 or 3 degrees today, and obviously the silicone is not gonna, or the sealant is not gonna dry that quick, and I don't want to put the oil in or even try to start the car because I don't want anything that's gonna go on the inside. Obviously, as you squeeze these, some of the sealants will go here. I don't want the oil to wash it out while it's completely soft, so I want to leave it to dry for a couple of days before I even try to start. So if I do put this cover today, which is my plan, I'm then working for 2 night shifts, and today is Tuesday, so I'll come out of nights on Thursday morning, and I won't be doing nothing until Thursday afternoon. By then the sealant should be pretty much cured, and that's the plan. That's why I want to do this today. But again, guys, and just saying it again, this is not A to B. This is not a ABC how to do this job. It's just a quick explanation. That's it, just to show you what I'm doing. So let's kind of put this cover in place and move into the next step. Okay, and just one very quick thing now. Just before I put the seal there, that one, I was just about to put the silicone, and I just thought about show you something. As I was cleaning these, it became really apparent the issue with the car. So as you can see down here, I have the marks where the chain has been rubbing. I have the marks here as well, and I have more, even slightly deformed the cover. You can see here where it has been going, even caused a small leap here. Can you see it? It doesn't really matter because the cover here goes on the top, but obviously the chain has been touching right here at the top as well. You can really see it. So just one more thing to show you that we were 100% in the right track. Okay, and everything is pretty much ready to put the engine cover and carry on assembling everything. But this is the bit I explained to you, or I said to you earlier, I would like to talk a little bit about it. And all it is I want to try to demonstrate how I think the system works and why it was throwing the fault for the fuel pressure. I'm quite confident that this is going to sort the problem. It will be a cold water shower if it doesn't, but I'm very confident that this is going to sort the problem based on my understanding on how this works and on my explanation that I'm going to try to give you on why it was giving a fault. So this here is the lobe where the fuel pump runs. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty much a square drive if you look at it, with the rounded corners obviously, but it's a square drive if you will. Okay, and that is where this runs. So this runs like so. Okay, and as the engine rotates, that's go down, and then it's going to be pushed up, then it's going to go down, there we go, then it comes up, and it keeps doing this. And what I think this here does is, I hope you can hear me, is based on the camshaft sensor for the exhaust camshaft, the engine ECU knows the exact position of this lobe. So what it does is, when it's on this position here, so when this lobe starts to come through, that's when it's going to push the pump, and that's when the pump builds pressure. So the pump doesn't build pressure when it's coming down, it only builds pressure when it goes up. So at this point, the ECU knows that the pump is being pushed, so pressure is being built. At this point, the ECU activates the pressure regulator in order to build pressure in the rail. And he builds and builds and he waits until he reaches a predetermined value. When that value is reached, it deactivates the pressure solenoid, and that's going to be when these reach here and going to start to come down. And when it comes down, no pressure is built. And what it does next, so it does again, activates again. There we go. And the ECU knows he needs, as I said, is about 4 milliseconds in order to build the pressure. So every time the pump is being pushed up, like that, it's for about 4 milliseconds, and then deactivates the pressure regulator, and he waits until the pump goes down. When it starts to go up again, another 4 milliseconds. So what is happening is, because the car was out of timing, the ECU was awaiting for a predetermined pressure value to be reached. But because this was out of timing, that means the ECU was activating the fuel pressure regulator at the wrong position, and therefore was waiting for way too long to build the pressure. And because the ECU was not reaching the pressure he needed, the ECU was going, whoa, 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 something's not right, because I'm opening this regulator for too long in order to build my pressure, so something is wrong. And all it was because the fuel pump was out of sync. This was out of sync, which means the activation of the fuel pressure regulator was out of sync from this lobe, from where the pump was, from the strokes of the pump, if you will. And I think that's what was causing the issue. And I think that was what was causing the pump not to build the pressure correctly, or for the ECU to see that there was a problem. So everything is back in place, as you can see now. I just have the cover to put back up, to put in place, and then obviously assemble all the rest of the electrics, vacuum pipes, and all that good stuff. But this is obviously doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to reassemble everything. Then I think I'll see you probably not today, because as I said, the pump, the sealant is soft, and I don't want to run the engine with the sealant like that, because it's just going to probably wash the sealant. It's going to mix this sealant with oil, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to leave that to cure a little bit, and as I said, maybe when I come out from nights. Just as curiosity for this cover, if you are interested. There we go. So that's how it goes. 55 is the top bolts, the bigger bolts. 25 everything around, and then right here these 3 bolts in the middle behind the 11 is 10. And as you can see, that's the order, in case if you guys want to see, that's the order of torque, and that's how it's done. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna reassemble everything, and I'll see you when I see you next. Okay, and the next time is now. So I left nights this morning, as I said previously, had a couple of hours sleep, and literally I just finished assembling everything. Just the oil to put back in, to put back new oil obviously, to put in, and spark plugs. I ended up changing the spark plugs. When I was to put the old spark plugs, as you can see, they're all burned here at the back, but that was not even my concern. There's one, these here. When I was to put it in, I've noticed this. The ceramic around the electrode is started to break. Look, there's bits of ceramic missing already, and they are not in very good shape, to be fair with you. So I decided that would be better to replace this. They are not cheap though, about £15 each. Ouch. But anyway, so we changed that. I'm just waiting as well for the coolant. The only coolant I have here is the pink one, and this thing comes with the green, or I think it's blue. Might be able to see in there. So I got blue, green, whatever that is. I don't have any, but there's a friend of mine that asked me to scan his car, and he lives in the city, so I asked him if he could bring me 5 liters of this coolant, which is doing it for me. So it should be here rather soon, and yeah, but the only thing left, as I said, is oil, coolant, and then the next time you see me is going to be inside the car, ready to start this thing. Okay, all done. I checked and double checked, everything seems to be in place. 5.6 liters of oil is how much it takes from dry. It takes a little bit less if it's just a normal service, but remember we had oil pumps out, we had sump out, so 5.6 liters. Coolant, he brought me the coolant, as I said, up to the level at the moment, but obviously I'm expecting that to drop as the coolant starts to circulate. It's going to be probably air inside the system, and I'll expect we need to keep an eye on that. Old parts there to go on the boot for the owner, and we are about to, we can start it now. Obviously I've started to work on this car on the 23rd of December last year. Today is the 11th of January. So, but we also had fuel lines unplugged and all that good stuff. So I don't expect the car to start straight away. But we're going to do it anyway, see what happens. And I wish to clear the codes before I start the car. But I think because the car is not going to start straight away, it could throw some codes for fuel that are actually not going to be there once we get this running. So this is the moment of the truth. I have an attempt to start the car. Let's hope it's not going to go bang. So clutch, right, let's go. Oh, beautiful. It's running perfect. The coolant already started to go down. We need to keep an eye on that. It's running really smooth. I think I already mentioned it with the old pump. So I put the original pump of the car, the new pump, the aftermarket knockoff pump is there. That's the old one. It's running really well. Right, so let's just probably plug in the maxi sys and clear any codes. Do we have engine lights? No, we don't. We don't have any engine light, but I want to plug in the maxi sys to clear any old codes, and then we'll do 2 checks that I want to show you. But before, let's gonna plug in the maxi sys. Okay, codes cleared. Was a couple of codes in there for the fuel pressure from before, I'm guessing. They were all not present, but I'll show you in a second that there is still no codes. I just want to show you something here that I believe I've showed you back in the video, which was the camshaft positions. Look at that. So if I recall correctly, before was on the low 20s or something like that. Look where it is now. The highest one is 719, I think. Then if you come down here, I want to see. Oh, look at the fuel pressure. Before, if I recall correctly, it was close to 50. So now it's down to 38. So it looks like the engine was actually putting, the ECU was putting actually too much pressure into the rail. Right, and now there is, let me just show you that there is no codes. There we go, no fault codes. We do have no engine lights. If you remember before, used to come up a little bit after you start the engine. I'm still want to go for a drive anyway, and I'm gonna still probably do it today, maybe, I don't know, because I really want to wrap up this and deliver the car. Is here for way too long. But there is 2 tests I want to do, and I'm gonna do it now to show you, because I think it's gonna be interesting to show you these tests. Okay, and as you can see, the first test is going to be double check the timing. So we're going to pause, and we're going to zoom in this a little bit, and gap on the crank. If you remember here, we used to have 7 tooths between there and that raise. So we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 now. So if you compare with the other one, there he is, 7 against 6. So this is a good timing chain. And now let's gonna do the second test. which I'm sure you already know which one is. And there it is, which is obviously the pulse for the fuel pressure regulator. So let me show you. So let's gonna take B out, doesn't need it there. Let's gonna pause. Now, if I recall this correctly, let's gonna bring the measurement time. Okay, so the first line, we're gonna put it right where the signal, where the pulse starts, right there. Now, if I bring this second line where the first one is, just to show that I should show a 0 microseconds. Now, if I pull this to where the pulse finish, .88 milliseconds. There we go. So if you compare with the before, which was about 12, which was, well, was not 3 times more, but was close to that. So this is how it should be. Way less time this unit to activate the solenoid in order to achieve the pressures it needs. So now, yes, I'm going to put the covers back on this U-plug. We're going to go for a road test, make sure everything is good, and hopefully wrap up this video. Okay, and just before we go for a test drive, we're going to get some coolant with me. I'm going to get some coolant. Just been here checking, guys, to see if there's any leaks, any new patch. There's a few patches, but they're old. There's nothing here new under the car, so there's no leaks. I checked everything around the engine with a torch before I closed the bonnet, make sure I can't see any leaks, so everything looks good. Everything is on levels. The car's been here idling now for a good half an hour maybe. As you can see, there is no lights other than those, but those will go away. No funny lights, and we still have no codes, which is good. So now we're gonna go for a test drive, make sure the car drives okay, and hopefully wrap up this video because I think it's done. Okay, so I forgot to mention, when I left home I had cold air blowing from the vents because obviously the water was not circulating through the heat exchanger, etc. I'm driving now for about 5 minutes or so, and now there is really hot air, which means the water is going through. So I just want to go quickly check the level of the coolant, because we don't want to obviously do any damage to anything. Still on level, as you can see there. So it dropped a little bit, definitely. It needs a little bit of water, but we'll do that when we get home. There is no leaks, everything looks okay. It's fine. Right, so now it's still quite up to the level. It's just dropped a little bit. I think that's when the water was forced through the heat exchanger, etc., and obviously dropped a little bit to fill these hoses. But yeah, guys, it's driving absolutely perfect, no problems at all. So I'm going to continue to drive for another 10 minutes or so, even because the fuel is already there, so we don't have much left. But we're going to go for a quick drive, a little bit longer, and hopefully wrap up this video. It looks promising. We have the car is not doing anything weird or anything like that. It's still, let's double check. Yeah, still no codes, which is good. Right, so let's gonna continue, and yeah, let's gonna continue. Okay, just drove back home, and it's literally a oven inside this car. I just need to get out. Right, let's gonna do one last check. There we go, guys. So I would say we have, I need to, actually I'm gonna turn it off so I can top up the fluid, the coolant again. There we go. Let me, that was hot inside. Turn this light on. Yeah, the next one to come here is already running at the back. It's already in line. Just open this. Does it drop any further? Not really. looks like the same. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. So there's really nothing else to say other than I just do apologize for not taking you through more details on the timing chain, if any details at all. There is plenty of information out there. There is videos out there showing you how this is done. Maybe next time I'll take you through more in detail. I might just do one video just for this. I could have taken this opportunity, but I just thought I was just recording the same as so many other people out there. There was really no point. I wouldn't be showing you nothing new, I'm surely I wouldn't. But that's it, guys. So all we're going to do now is put down the boot. There is so many tools to clean. Oh man, I need to organize all of this. But that's it for the video. I think it was quite interesting to see how, even though we had no codes for timing or anything like that, how that was actually affecting the fuel pump and was throwing codes for fuel pump. That can definitely lead you in the wrong direction, as he led someone else that obviously some other garage put a new fuel pump based on the code without doing any other checks, and he ended up wasting money. I would have never done that. I would have do all the due diligence, all the checks before I condemn the fuel pump or the regulator, whatever. But someone else just didn't, which unfortunately nowadays is how a lot of repairs / diagnostics are done. Is connect the tool, whatever the tool says, we just replace. Luckily there is no tools yet just saying replace the engine, otherwise a lot of people just start to replace the engines. Just joking, guys. So with no further ado, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you do still have any questions or any comments, you guys know exactly how it works, just put them below. And like always, thanks for watching.